Hi everyone, it's Kelly. I hope you're having a fantastic day. As you may know, the Beautylish event, gift card event for the fall of 2024 just ended, or it ended about a week ago. But most of my purchase has come in, and I thought that I would do a little review on an almost complete collection from the Chikuhodo brush line. This is the Z Series line, real hair brushes that is very good for sensitive skin. So these are the brushes that I just got from Beautylish event. I feel like I don't really get discount on these. So waiting for that Beautylish gift card event is the best time to get some sort of saving that I can go ahead and just get them, because I just love natural hair brushes. They are so soft on my very sensitive skin. And I feel like the only one or two brushes that I didn't get from this line are the powder brushes, the bigger powder brushes. I feel like I didn't need that because I do have other powder brushes that I barely even use. So I feel like I didn't need those brushes, but they are, of course, very soft the bigger they get, but they are also expensive. I think their brushes are like $134 for the big powder brushes. I feel like for natural hair brushes, I don't think that they're very overpriced. I believe these three eyeshadow brushes are between $26 and $27. Brow brushes are $26, but then the other two are $27. And this one is $34 for the blending brush or the eyeshadow packer. And then when you get to a more specific one like this one, it's a contour brush. I think this was $47. So it is getting a little bit up there, but it is very specific and it can do a lot of things. I think it's getting really expensive when you get to the bigger powder brushes. That's one I think is very expensive. This new cheek brush that I just got, this one is $87. So it is getting expensive as when you start getting to the cheeks and the powder brushes, because it is a lot more hair to it. These two are the older ones that I already got, I think last year or earlier this year. I can't remember honestly, but these were the older ones that I got, and getting my feet into the Z series brushes to see if they're really good and how soft and everything like that. These were the two brushes that I started out first. And this one is the more expensive one. I think this is $67, and this is a cheek and highlighting brush, and it's $60. So I don't think it's very expensive, even though it says it's expensive. But for an example, this cheek and highlighting brush, it's made of real squirrel hair. It's $60. You would think that's expensive. But this new Sonia G soft buffer brush that I just got is $60. So they're both the same price. One is goat hair and one is squirrel hair. So I don't think in terms of the Z series being full natural hair brushes are that expensive. Especially they are more geared towards sensitive skin, and it feels incredibly soft on your skin. I don't think the pricing are that expensive versus Sonia G brushes. Anyway, so those are the new brushes that I got. So let's get into the application and demonstration wise using these brushes that I just got. Since this set does not have a foundation or a liquid brush, so what I did is I already applied my Tower 28 Tint Sunscreen with the Sonia G Soft Concealer Brush. This is my now go-to concealing brush. I just think it's a lot softer than the BK Beauty and even the Hourglass one. Anyways, just want to say what I already have on my base. Since these Chikohudo brushes are made from squirrel hair, it is very delicate and you have to use it only with powder products. And with this, I am even more cautious even when I'm using it. I won't use this to set my foundation, because I feel like when I'm going from this powder and then dabbing it onto my liquid foundation, or it will sort of sticks onto these bristles, and that can be damaging to them. So I don't even use that in that manner. I would set my liquid with a synthetic brush or goat hair squirrel brush, such as this one, the the Sonia G Soft Buffer. This is what I use to set my powders under my eyes and my face, and because it is a goat hair, you can use this for liquid and powder, and it feels really soft, and this is one of my new ones that I got from the Beautylish gift card event, and I really like it. I'm glad that I got this because I can use it for both powder and liquid. I was thinking of getting the Sonia G Classic Cheek, but that one is a dye goat hair, I believe, and it only recommended to use with powder only. So I thought that this one is a lot more universal and multitasker. Anyway, so that's what I've done with my base. So the first brush is this eyebrow brush. Now this whole entire set is in a travel size format. I feel like it's not the regular size. For an example, the Sonia G Soft Concealer is this size, and this brush is this size. Like, they all seem like they are made with a shorter handle, easier to travel. Here's another brush. Even Sonia G's smallest brush is still a lot longer. So I would consider them more of a travel size. And I'm a pretty small person. I am like a 5'0" person, and this is like, to me, it's a little bit on the small size handle wise. I wish it was a little bit longer, but it is what it is. So this is an eyebrow brush, and let's go in with the Jane Iredale Pure Brow Powder in the color Soft Black. So I'm just going to use this. This is the first time I have used all of this brush. So we will see how good. I feel like it's very soft. It's dense but not too dense, and it's soft but not fluffy. I think it feels really nice. I have other brushes, but none of them are this soft, but also big and fluffy at the same time. Like, it's a very unique, if I can show you what it looks like. It's not very thin. Let me show you another brush. This is the Patrick Ta brow brush. Look at the density of these two brushes. Patrick Ta is very thin, and this one is a lot bigger and even thicker, but it feels just as soft on the face. It's incredible. So I'm gonna go in for my other brows. I have sparse brows here, and let's see how this fills them in. I think it fills them in quite nicely. I don't feel like it's going outside or it's messy looking. It's a very controlled application. I feel like it's because it's so short, and I'm holding it quite up close to the brush, that it feels it's very controlled application wise. I'm gonna go again. This color usually is very soft for me. I wish it was a little bit more pigmented, but in all honesty, it does make it look really natural. So there's the eyebrow brush. I don't feel it as hard or anything. It really is just like the perfect softness and firmness as well. This one is called the eyeshadow brush. It is essentially your pencil brush. And I got here the Sonia G Pencil 1 brush. And again, the size is like this. The Sonia G is shorter. You can see here the Sonia G is smaller in diameter as well. But I feel like the Z series can move a lot more than the Sonia G brushes. So I feel like this will give you a very more intense density of a color payout because it's a little bit more fluffy, a little bit longer. You can use this to diffuse. So let's see this. I guess I will use this color and I will go underneath my eye to demonstrate, to show you. And look, I just made an eyeliner look with this brush. And that was not hard at all. I just created a wing liner. I feel that was really quick. And then I'm just gonna blend out the rest of my eyes. Like, it's very soft, and I feel like it is definitely the more fluffy one of the two pencils that I have. It's definitely more a fluffy one. It moves a lot more and it blends out a lot easier than the Sonia G one. So perhaps I didn't pick up as much as I did on that side because I was a little wary about that. And if you want to pick up a little bit more, you can. You can use this to blend out eyeliner on top as well if you want more of that diffuse and blended kind of look. And if you really want a defined crease line, I definitely think you can use this as well, like this, to give you that really defined crease line look. Yes, very nice. So I want to put a lighter color or like a more of a shimmer color on the middle of my lids just to give it that spark, you know. So I'm going to be using the Chanel Ombre Essential in 222 Blanc Pearl, which this is just the white one. It looks white in the pan, but when it gets on its skin, it has this pink shift to it. And I'm using the blender brush. And that's how much it picks up. So it picks up a lot of products. But at the same time, I don't feel like I ever have to worry about that it's over blending or over applying because it just blends out so nicely. Look, it just blended it out and made it and gave it like the perfect amount of shimmer on top of my lid. I have to get out some of my older product to use because all this new stuff, I'm just not giving love to my other ones, so. And then I'm just gonna use this on my brow as well. You can also use this as a highlighter on the nose. Look, it just fits perfectly on my nose. Sideways or front view. It just fits perfectly the size of my nose. And then of course we can go back to the pencil brush and apply this to the inner corner. Or you can also again use this as a highlighter, just very precise point highlighter on your brow. And then I'm gonna go underneath my eyes and blend it in with the brown. And then we're gonna go in some more in the middle here, blending upwards. And then some more underneath. It fits nicely in the corner. I don't know if you can see how when I move, it shifts. There is a pink shift to this shade. It's a beautiful shade, even though it looks white, but it really isn't white when it goes on. So that is all for the eye brushes. Now we're gonna move on with face brushes. The next brush is quite a special face brush. It is this one. It is the contour brush. It is very thick in diameter and still short, but this one is a very small, sort of like a foundation brush. Let me show you this one. So I have this one. This one is the Sonia G mini base brush. So that's what it looks like. And look how much smaller it is compared to mini base. And mini base, I already think it's such a small brush already, and this one is even smaller. So it's great for precise application. And this is the view. You can see that this one is a lot smaller, but they both have the round shape to it. This one definitely feels dense. To me, this reminds me of a typical foundation shape brush, but in a very minuscule. It's like it's your micro foundation brush. However, again, these are squirrel hair, so they can only be used on powder formulas and not liquid. If you have a bigger face than mine, I think you can use it in a multitude of ways. I mean, you can contour your nose, you contour your cheeks, like something very precise application, and then you can just buff it out. So this, to me, I feel essentially is a contour and slash buffer all in one. So you can definitely contour and then you just buff out. What I also like using this as well is like after I finish on my face or something and I needed some blush area that needs to be blended out, I like to use this brush and just blends out the blushes on my cheeks if it's not diffuse enough. But because this one is really small, I feel like it can get into little areas a lot better than if I were to have other brushes that are a lot bigger, such as the Sonia G mini base, which I think is small already as is, but it's still quite big for my face. I feel like this one is very good to do detail blending and buffing. I can see myself using this, just the edge of it here, to do crease work or blending the crease out as well. And again, like I said, the nose area. And the other thing I like this is if you want to use powder to clean up your brow area, easier to do as well. So I think this one is a very specific kind of use, but it can be used for a lot of things. It's just that sometimes a lot of people might not want to do that. They might not want to, go the extra mile of using another brush to do buffing or whatnot. But I think that it has its uses. I mean, the nose is definitely the perfect use for this. Normally, I don't use bronzers. I just put on cheeks and call a day. But I will just demonstrate this with bronzers, and I'm going to use my Chanel La Beige in medium rose gold. And just a few swipes, and that's how much it picks up. So this one, it feels like you can do your contour or your bronzer, and if you want precise, you don't actually even have to think about it. It's just sort of you're putting it on and you do. Like I'm not thinking about, oh, it's gonna overdo or not blend out well in the line. It's almost like a mindless contouring. Like you don't even have to think about, you don't have to worry about that you are, contouring it too low here or too high up or whatever. It's just wherever you put it down, the color is deposited. And obviously with these fluffy brushes, the more you move, the more it will blend and diffuse. Like before I had, you can see a huge line, but now that I'm just diffusing it and moving it around, it just blends it out. Let's do it again. Like, I feel like it's especially good for people who do contouring very often and they're used to knowing where it goes on the face. Using this brush, you can just do it mindlessly and you don't even have to think. If you already know where you want your little bit of contour or a little bronzer to go in. So there is that. Versus no contour. But I feel like because I am getting old now, I feel like my cheeks has sort of sunken and I've lost that cheek fat. That contouring will just sort of emphasize that for me. And I don't really like the really contour and skinny cheeks kind of look, which is why I tend to skip bronzers. I just do my cheek just so that it can still look youthful. To me anyways. And of course, if you want to do the nose, you can. To most people, it's a very specific brush, but it's a multitasking brush if you really think about it and if what you really want to use it for. That's to me. Next up are the cheek brushes. This one is the cheek and highlighter brush. And then I just bought this one, which is the cheek brush. And this is the size. You can see that the cheek and highlight brush is a little smaller in frame. And this is what it looks like. Of course, the cheek and highlighter brush is smaller than the actual cheek brush. This brush, I have bought it before, along with my other one that I have bought a while ago. The rest of the Z Series brushes are brand new. I just bought it at the Beautylish gift card event. So I'm very excited I can use this. Now, these are almost the same. But do I need to? These two are almost identical in size. Just one is smaller and one is bigger. Do I really need them both? I thought about it hard. And I feel like this cheek and highlighting brush, it can do, obviously, blush and cheeks and highlighting at the same time. And contour, anything. This brush is very good. But I do feel that sometimes, especially with blushes, it's a little bit too small for what I like, and I require a lot more blending in application wise. So that's why I thought that I only needed one cheek brush. But because actually upon using it, I feel like sometimes I just want a little bit bigger cheek brush. Size matters, which is why I went ahead and bought the actual cheek brush, because I just felt like, you know, the shape, the size of it fits better on my face. Like, yes, this one I feel like if you have a blush topper, this one would be perfect because it would just stay on top of my apples here, which is basically what the purpose of a blush topper is. So it would definitely stay on top of that. And of course, highlighting and everything else. But it's just that this size is just the perfect size for my cheek. That's a perfect size. Like, there is nothing I can say more for the new cheek brush other than that. It's just the perfect size for cheeks. Let's get into the application. First up is the cheek and highlight brush. This is the smaller brush. I'm going to be using my Chanel Light and Berry blush. picks up quite a bit. So this one is nice. Like I said, I think this one is a really nice brush for my face shape especially. It blends nicely and it keeps it very controlled because of how I'm holding the handle as well as the shape and the size of this brush. It is very nice, but it's just that sometimes I just want a brush that's a little bit bigger and just makes my application a lot faster, I guess. But if you're looking for versatility, of course, any of these brush, I feel like, of course, they're versatile because it just really depends on the shape of your face as well. If you have bigger face, you can use any of these to multitask. Because I have a smaller face, I cannot use a big brush for highlighting, for an example. I feel like all of these brushes are just the perfect size brushes. None of them are so overly big that you can't use it to do other tasks with it, like the highlighting. So this is the brush. I think it blends out really nicely in a very natural way. Of course, I blend it out quite a bit. That's why I'm losing a little bit of color. Let me apply again. But for an example, if I have a blush topper and you just want it on top of your blush like this brush is perfect for that, especially for my size. And it's easy to blend up as well. So that is the smaller size brush. This is the cheek brush. So as you can tell, I feel like you can still use this as a highlighting brush. It just might be a little bit of a thicker highlighting brush, and you can get a thicker highlighting line. It will definitely be very diffuse at the same time. I don't think I picked up enough. Okay, now I picked up too much. Let's see how well this brush blends out. This is literally the first time that I am using this brush. So that is the bigger blush brush. I feel like the smaller brush, it sort of blends it out nicer. I feel like between the small and the big, as you can see here, it looks different in application. Like the small one seems to be a lot more diffused and a lot more light and kind of look to it, while the bigger one kind of gives me more pigmented kind of look application wise. I definitely can see the difference between these two sizes. I feel like this size is a lot more diffuse looking, while this size is diffuse, but it still has a lot of product, I guess, the way it's looking on my cheeks right now. Interesting. Let's move on with the highlighter. So regarding highlighting, I do have its highlighting brush, which looks like a candle shaped brush. It makes it very easy because it is pointed. So it's very easy to highlight here. I've even used this to highlight on my nose. And I've also used this as cheeks as well to blend things out, especially in the corner of the eyes here. I feel like this helps blend things out a lot easier when it gets into the corner. You can use this as bronzer. It really has good splay movement to it, you can tell. And it gives you a cut line. I feel like all of these brushes are very multitaskers. So this one is definitely a typical highlighter. You've seen me use it as highlighting before. what I want to concentrate on is using these two brushes as highlighter to see how they perform as highlighter. For highlighting, I'm going to use my Chanel, what is this? Lumiere de Lotion. I just pick a little bit because it is a very sparkly kind of highlighter. So again, precise highlighting and not too much product. If you want more, then just get more. But this highlighting is very sparkly. That's why I'm a little bit like, calm down. So there you can see the highlighting. I think it's like a good size strip of highlighting. It's not too thick, it's not too thin, and it blends out. Let's get the cheek brush to see how this will do as a highlighting. I want to see if, like, do you really need to carry all of these brushes when you go travel? Especially you don't want to be carrying too many things when you travel. Also at the same time, I want to see how it will actually perform. So definitely a lot of application wise right off the back because it is a bigger brush. Second application. It's a little bit big for my nose, but on the side it should be okay. But that is the highlighting with a bigger cheek brush versus highlighting with the smaller brush. I feel like the sizes do really matter in application wise. The smaller one looks more diffuse and lighter in application, and the bigger one looks a little bit thicker and a little bit more pigmentations in application wise. For the final brush or powder brush, I actually don't have one from the actual series, but I do have these Lunar New Year one, which is squirrel hair as well, and they're just as soft. This is the cheek brush and this is the powder brush. That's what it's made for. So you definitely can see the difference in the brush size. I'm sure that even with the cheek brush, you can use this to, again, powder your. You can use it in a multitude of ways. But because I already have 3 of these Lunar New Year brushes, I feel like I didn't need to buy their specific powder brushes, which I think were quite expensive. I think they were $134. I mean, this one is not that much less. It's $125. It's not that much less, but because I already have 3 of these, if I were to buy more powder brushes, I feel like it would be such a waste for me because, one, I don't use powder brushes all that often. I literally only bought this as collector items because of the Lunar New Year pictures. If I were to do powder, this is the brush that I would use. I would use this for bronzer as well, but that's pretty much it. I feel like these big brushes, they're nice and soft, and I feel like a rabbit's foot or a rabbit's tail in your face, but I don't use powder all that often, so that is why I didn't buy the powder brushes from the Z series collection. But I have these one and they feel pretty soft. Now my makeup is pretty much done with the brush set that I just got. I feel like a lot of these brushes are multitaskers. This line is beneficial for me because I have sensitive skin and I really like really soft brushes, and I think that these are soft and I like them. I like them a lot more than even some of the Sonia G brushes that I had, which is why I think they're worth it. When it comes to makeup time, I am sort of excited because I know that I'm using brushes that are not going to be pokey to me. I was using the BK Beautiful like last year, and although it was fine, but to me, I was just not really happy about it. It was pokey here and there, and I just didn't like that application. I didn't just like using that brush at all. And then now I have some of the Sonia G brushes, which I am enjoying a lot more than the BK Beauty brushes, such as the Soft Buffer. This one is such a good brush. It's soft. I am like the softness radar machine, I'm telling you. So I really do enjoy using these new brushes. And I feel like even though they only have 4 in their line, not like Sonia G. I know Sonia G has a variety of brushes and size, but I feel like even though I only have 4 brushes, I can still use it and still get makeup look that I like. And this one, even though it says it's for brows, you can use this definitely as an eyeliner brush at the same time. So that's a multitasker. This one, you can use it to blend, you can use it to highlight, you can do it contour your nose. You can even use this to powder underneath your eyes because it is quite small and on the side of your nose. I like that. This one, you can do it underneath the eyes and as well as inside the eyes and specific highlighting. And this one, the paddle brush one, even though it says it's just for, padding your eyeshadow, but I can also blend it out with the crease like this if you turn it on the side and as well as on the side underneath your eyes here. So I feel that I don't need 20 brushes of, one bigger, one bigger, one bigger, one bigger, even though these are all not that small, but they can multitask in such a variety of ways. I think they are useful. And then the rest of the face brushes, I feel like they are useful and they are multitaskers. I feel like all of these brushes, again, are multitasker. It's just how you see and how you want to use them in a certain way. This one, again, because of the size, it goes anywhere, in between anywhere and anything. It can do as a blender as well as contour and as well as setting underneath your eyes and setting the side of your nose. Such a multitasker. This one is a highlighter, but you can also use it for blush. You can also use it to set underneath your eyes. It's just the perfect shape for underneath your eyes. I don't think it's that big and I don't think it's that small. And you can also do on the side of your face. You can also contour and your face and cut your jaw lines here, and you can also do bronzer. It moves really nicely. And the small blush brush, of course, it's nice and it's perfect to blend, to highlight, to, again, you can still do contour with it as well. To me, they are worth it because they can multitask and they are soft on the face. And if you take care of them, they will last a very long time. The only thing that I really have a great about is that you can't use it on cream or liquid products, but that's what I have my Sonia G's for. So those are my thoughts on the Z series from Chikohudo. I would love to get the Fox series brushes. I was gonna get them on Visage USA, I think a couple of years ago when they were still available, but for some reason that site's no longer open for business. I can't even buy them. So I would have to wait. I don't know, either buy it online or if I plan a trip to go to Japan or something, I would really like to pick up those Fox hair brushes. They look incredibly soft. I love natural hair brushes. For me, I've used synthetic one. I've used a mixture of synthetic and pure real hair brushes. I really do prefer the Japanese handmade real hair brushes for my skin type. I hope you've enjoyed this little review of the new brushes that I just acquired. If you have any thoughts or do you yourself like natural hair brushes, or you're the one who prefers synthetic ones. Let us know down below, and until the next video. Bye everyone.